I am God. I'm back again. My last video, I ran out of space on my phone. Quite a funny moment for it to cut out. Yeah, did you notice when I took that swig of whiskey, my chair just sort of just cracked backwards, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't do that very often. Anyways, I live a very strange life. I really do. I really do. Anyways, it's been a couple of hours since I recorded that video. I've listened to, I listen to my own videos. I try to imagine what I sound like, to somebody else. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. Anyway, there's a couple of things I've been thinking of that I could talk about. Let me have a quick think. Hang on. So what was it saying? Oh yeah, isn't it interesting? So yeah, well, I'm looking on the Daily Mail. There's some woman complaining about Keir Starmer and his banning smoking around pubs and stuff. It said something about Brenda from Bristol or something like that. Yeah, whatever. Last thing, I live near Bristol. Anyways, yeah, well, nothing that special really, is it? So what can we talk about? What can we talk about? I mentioned in my previous video that I'm being obstructed. I mean, how can I picture it for you? So, the thing is, I'm God. I'm at the center. Now imagine, I'm not the best at drawing, okay? But, imagine there's a man, he's standing, yeah? And there's a ring of, there's all these people who are standing around him, but they've all got their backs to him. So, and they form a circle around me. I'm in the center. And all those people who form that ring around me are behaving like they're God. Some of them will be doing witchcraft, and they're quite knowledgeable about witchcraft, and they know what they're doing. And there will be people who didn't know or don't know what they're doing, but they've become so corrupted by foul spirits that it doesn't really make any difference. But that's what the world wants to do. It wants to take people who aren't me and try to give them my position of power. The world wants to replace me. I mean, here's another analogy for you, okay? So, most people have seen the series Breaking Bad. You got Walter White, yeah, and he produces the best meth. He's got the best product, right? He's got the power, right? He's got, you can think of it in that sense. He has that power. He has that product that everybody wants. And obviously, dealers, well, what they do is, obviously, you have the guy who makes it all, and then it gets sold to different people, and that's the thing, that's the thing. People want my product. They want, this, I'm speaking in terms of an analogy here, okay? I'm not a drug dealer. But um, they want that product, and they want to be the one to hold. They want to be the ones holding that product. They want that power, and it gets stolen from me. People try to steal that from me. And that's the thing, and well, Christianity, I mean, in terms of that analogy, well, that's the thing, I'm happy to share with those who love me, but those who don't love me, that's not good. That's bad, obviously, for all the reasons you should know. Okay, you should know already. Do I really have to explain that one? Anyways. So yeah, no, I was thinking about those analogies. Thought that might be helpful, maybe to help anybody understand what it is that I'm talking about. I'll probably find there's so many ways of looking at it. There's so many ways of trying to understand it. See, the thing is that as I learn who I am, and I've learned about magic as well. I had to learn magic. I've had to learn how everything works. It's like, well, everyone's seen that film, The Matrix. Neo. He learns how to manipulate everything. He figures out how to bend the matrix to his will. It's a learning process. Okay. I didn't have any formal training on it. Okay. I've had spirits with me who've helped me. I've had time to become familiar with these things and test things. Because this is the thing, like I say, the world mirrors me. So I know when I see a reflection, and I'm like, okay, there's a reflection now. So, and that's after I did something, and it annoyed me. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, is it go? When I first started seeing it with my, when I first realized something very strange was happening, I thought, I could see. I felt under attack. I felt like I was being attacked by God or demons or something. I was like, what the heck's going on? When it first happened, I thought people had hacked into my computer. I thought people were watching me. I was like, how? What the? Yeah. I mean, the idea that demons were spying on me and that's how it all happened. It took me a while to understand that. For some bizarre reason, I'm surprised that I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out. To be quite honest, very strange. Strange how things happen, but so yeah, and this is the thing. I would see that I would do something, and then the world would react in some kind of way, and it was always, it was never, it could be and it took time to understand how it works, and I'm still sort of learning how that works. It's a gradual process, right? I think it's yeah, because there's so many possibilities, there's so many variables, and there's so many things to try to. There's so many things I have to consider to try and figure something out. You know. But ultimately, it's the world. It's the physical realm at war. They're waging war against me. They want to keep me hidden. And as I explained, the world is being destroyed. People's lives are being ruined. I would have hoped that would be fairly obvious by now, but quite a lot of people, they seem to remain hopeful for, they just remain hopeful. They're like, well, someone will fix it, or hopefully someone will fix it. If not, well, we just have to just hope that someone does. People like to make themselves comfortable, don't they? Yeah, they do. The thing is that, a lot of people, they look at society and they think, yeah, most people are good. And then you got people who are idiots and stupid, and they make mistakes, and they cause disasters, and, we need more smart people, and blah, 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 blah. If you've listened to some of my older videos, talking about truth and censorship and why it matters, and the fact that British people, they're whinging about their freedom of speech when they have censored other people's freedom of speech. And I explained that all the reasons why people should question that, and there's also there are people in this world who call themselves God's chosen people. They hate Jesus. They don't believe in Jesus. They don't love Jesus. Who's Jesus, by the way? Oh yeah, God. That's me, by the way. Yeah, so they don't love me then, do they? On the one hand, you've got investment, you've got the banking system, you've got usury, and on the other hand, you have communism. Who's trying to pull strings? Who's trying to pull the strings? And then you have the media and politicians, Hollywood, the music industry, the porn industry. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Well, I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. I'm sure you could find examples where you could say, well, but then, I'm talking about generally, overall, look at history. That's the thing. People don't want you to look at history, And the thing is that there's a lot of censorship, You're not allowed to. Well, that's the thing. If someone thinks you're being critical, you're criticizing. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy though. Like, if someone's doing something evil, then it should be correct to say that they've done something wrong, right? But the thing is the way the world's moving is it actually wants to say, no, you can't do that. Not for certain people, but for other people, well, we'll just throw them in prison because we don't like them anyway. There's something very strange happening. That's what it is. Okay? People should pay a bit more attention to what's really going on, and what's happened in the past. People should, not. People shouldn't dismiss the idea that people have fallen for propaganda in the past, because people do fall for propaganda. don't they? Yeah, they do. So, and look, if you put Jesus, if you put God first, if God is the most important to you, and, how is it you can talk about a bunch of people that hate Jesus and say that they're God's chosen people? That doesn't make sense. And you know the verses, a house divided cannot stand, right? So, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, though, does it? The fact that, well, that's the thing, they were all taught dispensations. They had certain pastors, they had certain scholars. They took Bibles, they put notes in there saying this is what we think this means, and this is what we think that means. And we reckon that those people who call themselves the Jews are God's chosen people. But they don't have to love Jesus because God has a different plan for them. It sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's a lie. It's a lie. Alright? People are free to believe what they want. I'm not stopping you. That's the path you choose to go down. But Jesus did say, judge them by their fruits. And to do that, you have to go have a look for yourself. You can't, and you have to really think about that one. Yeah. It's interesting because Jordan Peterson, there was a video of him recently, and he was talking about the Jews. And he was on stage and he was crying. He was like, you Jews are amazing. Well, it's funny though, isn't it? He's always crying, isn't he? He's always crying. Cry. Yeah, and then and his pockets are just getting fatter and fatter and fatter. Yeah. I always find it funny listening to him talk because, my vocabulary isn't that great, okay? But I listen to him, and, he likes to use big words, he likes to, lots and lots of big words. And really, I'd be surprised if, I would say that more than half the people that listen to him probably have no idea what the hell he's saying. I would say. Because he's too busy. He's running rings around people, By the time he's finished his sentence, people are just left like in awe. They're like, wow, look at you, Mr. Orator. Listen to your big fancy words. You must be so intelligent. I think you're intelligent. Yeah, you must be. I'm gonna clap my hands. Well, it is kind of like that, and he talks a bunch of nonsense. He's lying. He should know, because he talks about subjects. He should know way more. He should, he talks about certain subjects, but he's hiding the truth. He doesn't want to talk about the truth. He skips over that bit, and and that's the thing. That's the strange thing, right? Because he worships. Well, that's the thing. Like I said, he really thinks very highly. He considers himself an intellectual, and he likes to think of himself like, and he talks about how, especially Ashkenazi Jews, are considered to be very intellectual. You know, they have lots of Nobel Prize winners and all kinds of stuff, right? But you have to remember that, well, I mean, actually have a look. What is it, you know, they're involved with? I mean, you know, you think about communism, you think about all the different movements, you know, that they've been involved with. You know, who was Sigmund Freud? I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. You know, literally go look at, and I mean, that's the thing, you know, they have lots of so-called intellectuals who are God-haters. You know, they've been communists, lots of communists, and then you have the Jews who call themselves God's chosen people as well. So, you know, they have, you know, they obviously, you know, the group that call themselves the Jews are, you know, they, you know, they're on the left, they're on the right, you know, they're in the middle, you know, but, you know, what are their fruits? That's what I'm trying to say. You know, what really, you know, apart from the fact that they're living in the land of Israel, and the fact that they claim to be Jews and God's chosen people, where does it actually, you know, where is the information that would make you, you know, where's the confirmation, you know, where are the, you know, you're supposed to, you know, judge them by their fruits. So, you know, what is it that they have contributed? You know, what is it, you know, what is it they've done that's so amazing or so great? You know, is it usury? Is it communism? Is it pornography? Is it Hollywood? Is it the music industry? Is it the media? You know, I mean, have a good long think about that. Yeah. I mean, those are facts. You know, I'm not saying they're responsible, you know, for every porn movie that was ever made. I'm not saying that. You know, I'm not saying that they're responsible for every Hollywood movie that was ever made, but they play a very large role in a lot of these different things. And you know, people. That's the thing. A lot of people want to have a very high opinion of them. And what's that based on? What is that based on? What is that based on? All I'm saying is that people should not always believe what they're told, especially when there is, you know, there's a lot of, you know, that's the thing. There's been a lot of censorship about various things. And usually where you find censorship, that's because the world doesn't want you to know something that's there. Because there's powerful information to be found there. So I've already spoken about this. I'm God, okay? Those who love me will be saved. Those who don't love me, they're on the path to destruction. There is nothing else that can change that. Okay? There is no other force in existence that can change that fact. So, you know, make your, people will do what they do, and I will do what I do. Okay, so I don't really need to say a lot more than that on that. What else can we talk about? Salvation is for people who love me, regardless of their racial background. Okay? That doesn't matter. Because I was Jesus. I died on the cross for the sins of the world. The Israelites, the Judahites, the Jews, right? They were supposed to spread the gospel. They were supposed to spread the good news about me to everybody. So anyone on this planet could be saved by hearing the truth. Okay? The Rothschild family. Oh yeah. Freemasonry. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's strange how people don't seem to really care about the Freemasons. They're like, well, they're probably good people. Well, they probably, they probably work hard. They're probably hard-working intellectuals, and running our society. What's there to worry about? Who cares? What's on television? Yeah, that's the problem. People. People are. That's the thing. The royal family of this country, King Charles, Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah. Freemasons. Okay, they're part of that. Why do you think these people are so kooky? They're so, well, is that the right word? Why are their ideas so strange? Why is it they seem so daft or dumb, or, why is it, the words that come out of their mouths seem so strange? Where do their ideas come from? Where do their thoughts come from? What is it they're doing? What is their plan? Freemasons, and that's the thing, well, that's the thing, God's chosen people, well, the people who call themselves God's chosen people are claiming that they are a special group and everybody else is below them. You understand? And that extends to Freemasons. Okay? Freemasons are playing that same game as well. Okay? Because they've joined the special club. Yeah, it's all about being in the special club, and you move up you move up the ladder. Yeah. Doing witchcraft, doing magic. And you climb higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and you just look down at the rest of the human race and you think, cattle. That's it, cattle. Yeah, that's the world we live in. Salvation. I'm Jesus. I'm God. The whole point was that this world is evil. Okay, so like I said, Adam and Eve were white people. They arrived here, somewhere between 6 and 10,000 years ago. That's my understanding. Okay, there were humans on this earth before that. And that's the thing, because I'm Father, I'm Spirit, and then there's Mother Earth. Okay. There's been a type of separation, between me and her. People either love her or they love me. Okay. So the thing is, Adam and Eve, they sinned in the Garden of Eden, right? They did the thing they were told not to do, which they did. And so that meant that they were placed in this world where the ground is cursed. Okay, the earth is cursed. The material world is cursed. Okay. But you had the Hebrews, the Israelites, and the plan was that they were God's chosen people, and I made a covenant with them, and I said that I would always, as long as they didn't turn from me, I would always look after them. Okay. There were terms that was based on, but it was, I would love them and look after them and bless them. People say all kinds of strange things, don't they? Like, why would God want animal sacrifices and stuff? And it's like, well, actually, back then, people used to do all kinds of crazy sacrifices and stuff, and it's not that I needed them, it's that people felt the urge to do those things. I think that's how it went. Times were different back then, weren't they? But it's the thing. So the idea is that the fall of Adam and Eve, and and obviously they had descendants, and and the idea was that the Israelites would be, Abraham was blessed, and you had Isaac, and obviously there was Ishmael as well. So the Ishmaelites, well, my understanding is they became Muslims, right? Which is interesting, it's quite interesting, because people talk, I've seen on the internet, the Muslims claim that there's this guy, and he's like, I don't know, like the great whatever, right? How many, I don't know how many, but it's very far down the line. But apparently he's like a great times whatever grandson of Muhammad. And he's a white guy with blonde, he's white skinned with ginger hair, which I thought was quite interesting, but perhaps it's true, perhaps it's not, I don't know. But that's what they claim. Anyway, There's been a lot of migration. Migration didn't just happen in the last 20 years, Migration has been happening for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it's happened in all kinds of places, for all kinds of reasons. So, yeah. But it's interesting though, isn't it? Because with the Israelites, I told them, don't mix with other people, because you'll be worshipped, I warned them, don't, mix with other groups of people, because you'll end up, worshipping their gods, and, all kinds of bad stuff can happen, right? I wanted to keep the Israelites I wanted to keep them together. And it's in, there's, so that's what they were supposed to do. But, obviously, the idea was that eventually Israelites and the Jews, they would become a blessing. They would, they would bless the rest of the world. And that's the thing, right? Because white people have been blessed with all kinds of things over the last 2,000 years, let's say, and before. But, let's say, the last 2,000 years, look at our history. White people have had a very rich history of, obviously it hasn't been perfect, obviously, but, over the centuries, things have changed, and they've learned things, and they've done things, and so on. So they've been blessed. And the thing is that other people who weren't part of, non-white people would have seen white people as blessed. They would have been like, whoa, like, look at you guys. You're doing pretty well for yourselves. That's kind of how it would have went. That's how it went, right? And obviously, people do get jealous. There is envy. And that's the thing. The world hates me. I'm Father, I'm Spirit. I'm the one who can bless. On her side of things, well, what she does is she's like, the world is the whore of Babylon, she's the, Mary, the world, Mother Earth, the whore of Babylon, basically. She will do an exchange with people. So she gets what she wants, and she'll give them what they want, but that leads to destruction. That's a short-term thing. So, and that's the thing. With me, I'm eternal. So it's kind of the other way around, In the short term, people have to learn to suffer, and learn through suffering. But ultimately, where that leads to is eternal life and happiness, So it's the other way around. It's the other way around. Okay? So this is the thing. White people have been blessed, and that's the thing. The world wants to destroy those who have been blessed by me. And the thing is that they're not under my protection because, well, there are a lot of people who are not under my protection. Because, I'm talking about, people who descended from Israel, white people, white Jews. Okay? Obviously, there are a lot of people who would disagree with me saying that, but whatever. People can believe what they want to. Getting it wrong has consequences. So I'm only trying to help. I'm only trying to help people look in the right direction. Not that way, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, white people have been incredibly blessed. I mean, look at the history. It's amazing, isn't it? Really. But the last 100 years has looked very bad. It's not looked. There's been a lot of bad stuff, really, hasn't there? Particularly the last 100 years. I mean, it's gotten worse and worse. And the thing is, those who turn away from me, from God, well, they lose their blessings. And Mother Earth wants to destroy. She wants to... And that's why you see what's happening in the world. There's as it's spoken about in the book of Revelation, it talks about a flood of people. Nations, tongues. Yeah, there's going to be a flood of people. Which is interesting because my name's Grant, yeah, and you have lots of people coming across and they're called migrants. Okay, I've made that point loads of times. And that's the thing. The world wants to get rid of those people who were the real Israelites, or descendants of the Israelites, I should say. I would, white people. Well, I consider them to be descendants of Adam and Eve. Okay, pretty much. Okay. I mean, what does the fossil record show? Scientists will debate, and this and that, and blah blah blah. Well, that's the thing. I'm God. I created everything. I created the Neanderthals. I created the dinosaurs. I created the jellyfish. I created it all. So, do you know what I mean? But the thing is that people want to read the Book of Genesis like it's a science book, when it's way more than that. It's more than that. And that's the thing is that there's a test. There's a test that happens when you read the Bible, when you read the scriptures. There's a test of your, if you really are meant to be with God, if you're really meant to love God, well, that will happen, I mean, those who are corrupted by evil power, those who are corrupted, they're surrounded by foul spirits, they're going to have a real hard time seeing the truth. That's how it is. I keep saying, and that's the thing, and blah, blah, blah. I know that gets a bit annoying after a while, but whatever. I can't help it sometimes. Finally got an energy drink. That's very interesting. And also, don't forget about the descendants of Cain. You know, Cain he murdered Abel. Excuse me. You know, Cain he murdered Abel, and there was a type of I guess you could call it. There was a mark that was put on Cain, wasn't there? So if anyone killed Cain, or yeah, there was something like that, wasn't it? It was, and it became, you know, if anyone tried to kill him, it would become a curse for whoever did that. I think, yeah, it was something like that. And they were the descendants of Cain, you know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there used to be a time, you know, that people would be punished and their children would be cursed because of, you know, what a father had done, right? What a dad had done, you know, like, yeah. Hopefully you get the point. But obviously that changed, you know. I said that no longer will I punish the descendants of, the children aren't responsible for the sins of their parents or father, right? Their father, their dad. Okay. I get a bit tongue-tied sometimes. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You know, different groups of people can behave differently. There's no racial exclusion happening. But you know, when an evil man has children, well, you know, what's the likelihood? How will his? Well, that's the thing. You know, what will his children be like, and what will his grandchildren be like, and you know, what kind of people will he be surrounded by, and stuff. You know. Anyway, the thing is that if people love God, they become blessed. And the whole point was that the world was supposed to be blessed through the spreading of the truth. And the people who accepted the truth, the people who accept the truth, are blessed people. So that's the most important thing to realize. But the thing, you know, the strange thing is, you know, obviously the way things are in the world right now, you know, there's a lot of, you know, white people get accused of being evil or bad or privileged or whatever. You know, there are all kinds of accusations thrown around very carelessly. I would definitely say, yeah, and well, it's evil. People shouldn't be throwing around all kinds of crazy accusations when they don't know the truth. You know, a lot of people, they hear somebody else say something, they copy it. People like to throw around labels and accusations, and people don't really put a lot of effort into learning the truth. They have a very a lot of people think the truth is what it sounds pleasing to their ears. Just because something sounds nice doesn't make it true, does it? It's funny though, isn't it, how I'm talking about I'm God, and I'm explaining that, and well, I'm God. I mean, literally, I find out that I'm God, and I mean, cool, huh? I haven't got anything to be worried about. It's a strange, well, yeah, it's strange being me, but I can't help it. I'm me. I can't, there's no, I'm God. There is no other God apart from me. I just happen to be in, well, it's a fortune, I can't, of course it makes me happy. But I do suffer. I do have to suffer again and again to show people love, to try to save people. I go through a lot of pain and misery. People attack me, people abuse me, people try to cheat me. So, I do suffer pain and misery as well. So keep that in mind. Anyway, yeah. So white people have been very blessed. And they were also, they were the Christians, essentially. I mean, who spread Christianity? It was white people. Okay? That's how it was. Okay? That's how, well, things are a little different these days, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. Well, society's totally changed, women want to work, women want to be intellectuals, and they want to tell other people how to think and stuff, and what did I say? What did God say? That's the thing. Eve, she was deceived by the snake. Perhaps a woman thinks that, that's the thing, a woman may have good intentions, but if she's easily deceived, she's easily deceived. If a man is better at avoiding that deception, then it's logical that he be given priorities. He's given, he's the leader in well, when it comes to truth. That's the thing, that's the order of things, right? I'm God. Okay, and then there's man, and man puts me first, right? He learns the way of, he learns to be in the spirit, he learns to be a loving human being, a loving man. You know, a man who loves God, puts God first, and his wife plays a different role. He's supposed to lead her. He's supposed to lead her in spiritual matters. I mean, there were some examples in the Old Testament where, and the New Testament, women they did have certain roles as well. And those are interesting stories. I'm God. I can use who I want to, prophesy, etc. Okay, yeah. Feel free to look into it, but ultimately, men have to lead. A man can't be led around by his wife all the time, because they'll both be deceived. That's the truth. That's how things are. That's how things really are. It's true. I mean, look at society. How much more evidence do you really need? I mean, who tends to lean towards the left? Who wants, mass immigration? Look at the policies. What kind of things do, that's the thing. Men and women definitely think differently. When we're speaking generally, okay. So there's a difference. And that's the thing, men and women play different roles. So, when a man does what he's supposed to do and a woman does what she's supposed to do, then there shouldn't really be much to worry about. But when people go against that, then you get all kinds of problems. And people either accept the truth or they don't. The truth will set you free. The truth will save you. I'm the truth. People either accept the truth or they don't. Okay. What else can I say? Yeah, I was reading all these comments about people smoking. The people, people who are, they're all saying, why can't we have our freedom? Why can't we have, why can't we do what we want to do? And all this kind of stuff. It's quite funny reading all those comments, really. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because, the state wants to be God, right? The state wants to control. The state wants to tell people what to do, what to think, how to act, how to destroy itself, etc., etc. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a very interesting moment in history, isn't it? Really. I'm God. I can offer life eternal life. And then on the other side, you have crazy communists who can offer you death and destruction. You know, which one do you prefer? You know, is that a hard decision to make? I wouldn't have thought so, but then again, you know, what does the world do? Yeah. Go on, have a bit more whiskey. Get a bit of Jim Beam. Beam of light. So, you know, I want to try and, you know, what can I talk about? What can I talk about? Isn't it crazy how hateful society is, you know? It's full of judgmental people, you know, people who want to make fun of each other, or they want to be nasty to each other. You know, they want to judge each other and make all kinds of comments. And, you know, how do people, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. Society is really not doing that well, is it? I mean, and that's the thing, you know. People want to party, they want to have sex and sleep around, you know. People want to have tens of sexual partners, you know, hundreds sometimes, thousands in some cases. You know, people pursue all these things, and what does it leave them with at the end of the, you know, like, what are they left with, you know? Yeah. People in this world, you know, the human body is what it is, you know. You know, what does the human body look like after 70 years or 80 years of life? You know. Society is, you know, people who think that Christianity is evil, and want to believe that how society today is a lot better or something. I mean, really? It's disgusting. It's horrifying. I mean, it's easy not to be horrified by it if you cover your eyes and you only look at the bits that you want to look at. Yeah. But if you actually learn about what's really going on in all the places, yeah, it's horrifying. It's terrifying. It should be. Well, it should terrify most people. People have no idea what happens behind closed doors. Yeah, you'd be surprised what people are capable of. You'd be surprised what people would actually do for millions of dollars or billions of dollars. They'll do all kinds of things to be in that club, to have that kind of power. You know, it's not a subject I like to talk about very much, but you know how people talk about things like child sacrifice. child abuse. And they talk about Freemasons and secret societies, and people doing some really, it sounds very, very bad, very, very evil. I get the impression, I'm told by spirits, I'm told by them, that some very bad things are happening, and bad things have happened. That should horrify people, shouldn't it? And people are, what are they interested in? Watching Coronation Street, finding the next shag, or whatever it is that they're doing. Do people care about what really, are people actually interested in dealing with the problem of evil in this world? Or are people simply turning a blind eye to it? And that's the thing, people talk about the Catholic Church and they say, oh yeah, look, bunch of pedophiles, pederasts, right, as well. Well, the thing is that they worship Mary, they worship idols, they're doing very witchy kind of rituals, okay? That's the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is evil. Okay? It's an evil church. I wouldn't even like to call it. I prefer not to call it a church, really. It's not my church. It's a false church. It's interesting because they decided themselves that they were going to pray to Mary and make idols of her. They're going to decide what she looks like. They're going to decide what Jesus looked like, what I looked like, and so on. And they're going to, they do weird rituals, and they see nothing wrong with it. They want to change the 10 Commandments, to suit themselves. They want to twist things, so, they can carry on doing what they want to do without anyone criticizing them. Okay? The Catholic Church doesn't have a very good history, obviously. And who's the Pope again? The Pope? The Pope? Yeah. Who appointed him, do you think? Was it God? Was it me? No. So, yeah. No, so it's like I said, evil. That's what it is. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of evil in churches. There are a lot of snakes in churches. There are a lot of liars in churches. Think about how many churches, all they're really interested in is money. They're there for the financial. They're there for the financial blessings. That's the thing. I never said that. If you love me, you'll be rich, and you'll have lots of money and cash and gold and silver. I never said that. be rich in spirit. And the thing is that there's a point where you realize that death, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's not something to fear. And life on earth is short. It's not that long, really. People like to think it's a long time, but really it's not. It's not a long time at all. Yeah, that's the thing. People have to get over their fear of death. Love and being loved by God is important. And eternal life is, treasures await in heaven. Okay? For those who love me. So, that's the thing, people have to, that's the thing. The problem is that there's a lot of evil people who have sinned, they've done wrong, they've attacked me, they've done things they shouldn't have done. That's it, so those who love me, those who are good, will come to heaven. And those who don't, well, yeah, you know the story. So, but this is the thing, people fear death, and that's no way to go through life, really. The thing is, when you realize how evil this world is, you'll soon realize you don't want to be here. You'll soon realize that the world really has a lot less to offer you than you previously thought. And you're basically just dealing with deluded people all the time. People who would rather not worry about God. They'd rather not worry about what happens to them after death. They would rather just focus on material stuff, things of the world. They see things they like and they go after them. They're pleasure seekers, and they haven't got time for truth or love as much as they do pleasure. And that's the thing, people become selfish. They put themselves first. They put themselves before others. And when everyone does that, what happens is everyone gets destroyed. Look at the left, look at politics, look at society, you have all these different groups, and you've got lots of different groups that like to play victim as well, or they want to have their different groups and say, we're this, and and you've got other people who are something else and whatever, right? Yeah, people band together, they form alliances and whatever, but ultimately, do you know what I mean? Like, where's that going? Exactly. What does that lead to? The fact is that most people are selfish and self-serving, so that leads to destruction. Okay. That's the thing, people don't love the truth. They prefer to delude themselves. They prefer to believe what makes them feel happy. And, the sad thing about that is, well, what are they upset about? What are they unhappy about? People. If people knew the truth, there really shouldn't be any reason to be unhappy. I mean, yeah, life could be a struggle. Don't get me wrong, but ultimately, accepting the truth is that, okay, life can be difficult, but ultimately, that is the way. That is the path to eternal life, loving me, following my example. When I was Jesus, right? Tell people the truth, be prepared to suffer for others, to help save people, from destruction. But instead, what people are doing is they're fooling themselves, and they're all queuing for the lake of fire. They're all gathered. They're walking straight into it. They're just happy that they're all going together. Well, people. Well, that's how. Yeah, it is what it is. What more can I say? The thing, so white people, Europeans, most of them are worried. Well, a lot of them are worried about being replaced, treated like second-class citizens in their own countries, and they feel like white people, a lot of white people. Well, that's the thing. I think the entire world has decided that. I mean, well, that's the thing. If European countries, if countries where white people live, there's going to be a point where, the way things are going, white people will cease to exist. I mean, obviously, there's a melting pot thing that's happening, isn't there? So there's mixing. You've got mixing as well. So obviously, but yeah. But it's strange though, isn't it? Because white people were so blessed, with all kinds of things. They brought all kinds of things to the world. I'm God, I blessed them, okay? And because they were blessed, they had those blessings and they shared them. And it seems a bit strange though, isn't it? Well, the saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Well, if someone, and if there's a particular group of people in this world who are dishing out blessings, then, is it wise to breed them out of existence, or make them feel like second-class citizens in their own country? It's an interesting thought, that, because obviously, there's a saying, those who bless the Jews will be blessed by God. Does that extend to the Israelites? I suppose, yeah. Well, anyway, those who bless Israel are blessed. Okay? So this is the thing, right, about the people who claim to be God's chosen people. So all these, Christians, they've been taught dispensations, right? They've been taught nonsense. They've been taught that the people who call themselves Jews don't have to love Jesus. I'm God. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because, well, that's the thing. When I'm Jesus. When I came here 2,000 years ago, when I came to this world 2,000 years ago, I spoke in parables. I said things like, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. I suppose it's a lot easier to claim that, it's easy. It was easier for me to claim that I'm the Son of God rather than say I am God. But that's how it was all meant to go. That's how it was meant to happen. Okay. And there are lots of magic implications because of that, okay? And, and that's the thing, I want others to be the Son of God. I want others to follow in the same, on that path. It's interesting, that Son of God, SG. Well, my initials are GS. It's the other way around. Yeah. Anyway, maybe, well, if you've listened to anything I've said, maybe it'll make some sense to you. But, yeah. So, this is the thing, the people who call themselves Jews, I would say they're not Jews. I would say they're the synagogue of Satan. Okay? They claim to be something. But the fact is, they hate me. I'm God. They don't like me. They hate me. Most of them. I'm not saying every one of them. I mean, obviously, there are probably some that I like. But there's a lot of them. I'm speaking generally. I'm talking about people, followers of Judaism, and, okay, they read things like the Talmud and the Zohar, and, they're into Kabbalah trees and stuff like that. They got some very crazy ideas, I would say. But they play that game. They play that game of, they're God's chosen people. People must bless them if they want to be blessed by God. And that's part of what's sold to a lot of Christians. They've been taught dispensational Christianity, which is that Christians are separate from those people who are mostly, well, a lot of them are in the land of Israel now, and they call themselves Jews. And so, the Christians have been told, yeah, they don't need to love Jesus, they don't need to love God, or they have a special relationship with God. Jesus doesn't matter to them. Jesus died for the Goyim or the Gentiles or whatever. Whatever nonsense these people spout, right? All kinds of things. But they're lies. They're lies. Yeah, you'll know them by their fruits. Okay? And that's the thing, there's been there are a lot of people out there who, that's the thing, people like having their pockets lined. People like to join the club, yeah? So they say things, they do things, the strings are pulled, and this and that, and that's the thing, they like hearing nice things said about them. If you say something about them that they don't like, you could say truth about them that they don't like, and they're like, yeah, they don't like it. They don't like it. So people have, I'm simply explaining that the people in this world, and there are a lot of people who call themselves Christians, who get a lot wrong. Okay? They've been taught lies by certain individuals, certain people, and it caught on. Okay? Isn't it interesting, the situation between Israel and Gaza? It is, though, isn't it? People talk about Gaza being like some type of prison camp, don't they? It's interesting wording they use, isn't it? It is. It's like the largest open-air prison camp in the world, people say. Well, people will, yeah. There's lots of information about that. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of information about that people can read about, learn about. The thing is that, well, yeah. Yeah. It's not a good situation, is it? It's not a good situation. Well, look, you can see in this world who's been blessed and who hasn't been blessed. You'll know them by their fruits. What more can I say? So, what else can we talk about? Anything else? God, let me have a click around to see if I can find anything. Isn't that crazy? A man in a wheelchair got stabbed the other day. Yeah, I was reading about that. Well, I heard about it. I saw the headline. Man in wheelchair falls victim to UK knife crime. Well, that's crazy. Japan faces typhoon chaos. Yeah. They call that the land of the rising sun, don't they? Yeah. Interesting name for it. Huh? Ooh. Nigel Farage isn't happy about the smoking ban. Well, I mean, it's interesting though, isn't it? So Keir Starmer, he could have tried something else. I mean, it just seems like such a disastrous plan. I suppose a lot of people will be like, well, he's massive, he's out of touch, isn't he? He's out of touch. He obviously hasn't, he's never been in a normal pub before. Has he ever been to a pub before? I mean, that's the thing, you know, when I started smoking before I started drinking. I was smoking I started when I was 13. And, you know, I was no stranger to having to smoke. It was very inconvenient for me because I was at a boarding school where I wasn't allowed to smoke. So, you know, I had to sneak into bushes all the time. I had to run through the woods. I had to hide behind hedges all the time. You know, sometimes I'd be walking to my lessons and I'd keep an empty Coca-Cola can and I'd just put my cigarette in the can. And if it was during winter time, you know, when everyone's got condensation on their breath, I'd just be walking with all the other kids to their classes and I'd just have my cigarette and I'd just pretend to be drinking a can of Coke. I used to get away with that quite a lot. I mean, considering how is brazen the right word? I was very brazen about it, I suppose. Is that the right word? Like I said, my vocabulary is not the best. Anyway, I was, yeah. I took a lot of risks, okay? I was a bit of a risk taker when it came to smoking. Anyway, so I'm always used to having a cigarette with alcohol. And times when I've not had cigarettes or a vaporizer, a vape, you know, yeah, it's very bizarre drinking without any nicotine. It really is. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think, you know, maybe people will say Keir Starmer is out of touch with the modern man, you know, maybe. But he's he is I mean, what the hell is he playing at? You know, I mean, that could have serious consequences to businesses, right? That could, that's gonna scare investors. Investors, they're gonna look at what's going on in this country, and would it be any surprise if people were selling, sell, 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 sell? Maybe, huh? Wait and see, I suppose. But I would guess that is a strong possibility. I haven't looked at any charts in a long time, really. I don't tend to look at them anymore. I used to be totally obsessed, but I don't have the time for it. I choose not to as well, really. I'll have a quick glance maybe once every couple of months. But I'll have a look, actually. I think I'll probably do that. Maybe over the next couple of days, I'll see if I can have a decent look at what's going on with the stock indexes in the USA, UK, Japan, Europe, Germany, France, the UK. Yeah, look at the commodities, gold and silver. Anything else I want to look at? Oil, gas, stocks. Yeah. It's a lot to look through. But I'll have a look at some point. I'm not particularly worried. You know what I mean? I'm not particularly worried. I mean, I'm curious more than anything else. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, So what else? He paid off those train drivers, didn't he? So he's like, what did he say in his speech? He said, he's like, oh, it's better that we have train drivers. It's better for our economy that we've got train drivers who actually go to work and drive the trains and stuff. That's good for the economy. Yeah, but he's set a precedent, hasn't he? He's set this. He's paid them. He's just handed them what they've been asking for, whether they really deserve it or not. Whether that's actually fair or not. And the problem is that there's lots of other people who want pay rises as well, don't they? Yeah. So what could be the consequences of all that, I suppose? I wonder, like why, where's this all going? Well, people might put it down to him being an out of touch or a complete moron or whatever, but I would suggest that the guy is evil. And you have no idea who he does dealings with. Yeah, I heard his wife's Jewish, actually. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until the other day. Not sure if that actually means anything, but it's interesting though. So he's a communist, obviously. Well, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. There are plenty of communists in disguise. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are plenty of people who are pretending to be something other than what they really are. They're pretending because they consider that their job. It's how they make money. It's how they line their pockets. It's how they get power. They lie. They con people. Most people want to believe that people are sincere and genuine and tell the truth, and it shouldn't be that hard to know whether they tell the truth or not. But you'd be shocked just how evil and sneaky people really are, especially the people who pull the strings, yeah? The people who are in positions of power, let's say. You'd be shocked to know how most of them are evil. And the dodgy dealings they do, you know. Well, you don't know. Well, I'm telling you. So hopefully you know. Hopefully you know now, if you didn't know already. I heard Kamala Harris, her dad's a hardcore Marxist, apparently. How do these people get into politics? Who the hell would want to vote for that, you know? I mean, that's the thing, you know, it's easy to, you know, manipulate people, you know? You push people into poverty. So, you know, you have people who are, you know, they've got it all, you know, they've got the money, they've got money. You know, they've got a country that's doing well for itself, and you know, and that's the thing, you know, people turn away from God, and the next thing you know, they're being pushed into poverty bit by bit by bit by bit. And, you know, there's this slow process of destruction. You know, they do it bit by bit by bit by bit. You know, they're basically just, you know, the evil ones. What they're doing is they, you know, they're just taking nibble after nibble after nibble after nibble. You know, they're playing this game to win. And that's the thing, you know, when they spread these things over a long period of time, people tend not to notice it as much. You know, it keeps people fooled. Because people are overwhelmed by all the lies and nonsense, and you know, it's a lot of crap to sift through. So, you know, that's how they manage to fool people, is by playing the slow game. And, you know, they have that secret society, and they have the demons working with them, the foul spirits, you know, and, you know, they're, you know, people are given different assignments, different tasks to, you know, and over the decades, it's, you know, they all play their different roles, and it's, you know, they've got to accomplish this, and then they've got to accomplish that, and then it's, you know, it's a case of just destroying things bit by bit by bit by bit by bit until there's nothing left. So yeah, that's how it is. Okay. You know, I mean, that's the thing, you know how things are today in politics. Well, you know, if you'd gone back 30 years, right, if you'd made the switch from 30 years ago to today in terms of politics and how things are, people would be horribly shocked. They'd be like, what the fuck? They would be, though, wouldn't they? They would be so shocked. Like, how the hell did we get here? What the hell happened? We're in hell, or you know, or some, you know what I mean? People would be horrified. But because it happens over such a long period of time, and these politicians, you know, they're constantly, it's getting passed from one party to the other party, and they're always saying it was their fault. we need 2 terms to fix everything, and the clock just keeps ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking. And they play that game. They have exactly the same, the Conservatives and the Labour Party, right? The Tories and the Labour Party. They have the exact, they have the same objective, essentially. Those who pull the strings have exactly the same objective. It really doesn't matter which party is in power. Well, it makes some difference because the public expect certain things to happen, and they know that, okay, so when the Tories are in power, they can get away with doing certain things, and when Labour's in power, they can get away with doing other things. And so, but it moves the country in it's still the path to destruction. It's about, excuse me, things are never really improving. People are given false hope. You have individuals like Nigel Farage. People listen to him and they have hope. And they're like, yes, like, here's a man who knows what he's talking about. He has a lot of truth. He knows what the score is. We just need to vote for him. He'll sort everything out. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's false hope. It's false hope is what it is. I mean, you don't know who he is. What if he's a Knight Templar? He's a worshipper of Marduk or something. You don't know. You have no idea. You don't know what dodgy dealings that man may have done. I do find it very interesting though. He's a man who survived an airplane crash. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And also, I went to boarding school, right? Which is when 9/11 happened. It was right after Leah Dana Houghton died in a plane crash. I was in the house called Pageites, and I had a housemaster named Nigel Cooper who taught politics. Yeah. I would suggest that Nigel Farage, he's not where you should not trust him. Don't trust him. Don't trust him. I mean, he can speak truth. He can speak some truth. Yeah, sure. What some of the stuff he says, or a lot of the stuff he says, may make a lot of sense, but it doesn't make him trustworthy at all. You don't know what his intentions are. You don't know what his game plan is. He doesn't love God, so he's on the side of evil. He's been handed over to evil. Evil controls him, okay? And he's been used for a particular purpose. He's a tool for the opposition. Those who hate me. There was a time I used to really admire him. I used to think, wow, this guy, he speaks a lot of truth, very interesting things to say. I like hearing him speak. Cool. That was several years ago. Okay. My opinions about, there was a time when, back then I was very interested in politics. That stopped because I realized that it's a shit show, is what it is. I don't know any politicians that I could tell you you could trust. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Because I'm here. I'm God. I am extremely powerful. I win. You see? I win this game. So people just need to be, this is why I don't get exposure to, this is the reason why the world is trying so hard to keep me in the dark. Because as soon as I get past a certain point, the world has no chance against me. It really has no chance against me. I mean, the world has no chance against me at all, but people are fooled. But people, when they find out about me, they find out I'm here. When I have enough people listening to me and talking about me, there are going to be a lot of eyes on me. Physical eyeballs. And things will happen. People will notice things. People will go crazy. Would you agree with that? Yeah? Does that sound accurate? Okay, so that's how I expect things to go. I'm being told that's correct by the Spirit who's with me. Okay? So, the thing is when lots of people discover who I am, people will be terrified. People will be terrified. Because I have power that is beyond anyone else's. So that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be. I'm waiting for that day to come. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. Look at what's going on in Japan. Typhoon. Terrible things can happen. Earthquakes, tsunamis. disease, death, all kinds of problems. And chances are, well, a lot of bad things are going to happen if people. That's the thing, those who reject me, as long as people keep rejecting me, there's always going to be destruction going on. So that's how it is. People can try to run from me, but they can't, People will try to run and hide. But there's nowhere for them to go. That's why the world tries to keep me hidden and tries to use the witchcraft I've spoken about against me. I mean, what exactly will happen and how people will react is, well, I will have to wait to see what happens. What happens will happen, okay? What will happen will happen. And it's only a matter of time before that happens. So, my suggestion is to get ready for that day, because it's coming soon. Okay? Anyway, I need to go eat some dinner. I've got some food I need to cook. I've got spaghetti bolognese. And I'm quite tired. So, I'll upload this. And maybe someone will watch it. Hopefully. Catch you later.